welcome to another episode of the Let's Talk podcast. My name is Kamisha Whitaker-Moore, and tonight I am joined by my co-hosts that you already know, both of them, 2 out of the 3. First one going to be Cam Bam. What's up, Cam?
What's happening?
Second one's going to be big little brother Ron.
How y'all doing?
And tonight we have a very special guest, the baby of the family, the comedian out of the bunch. Her name is Tam Bam.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
So she's going to be joining us on tonight. Tonight, we're going to come up with just random questions about different things. When, as a parent, when do you feel like your kids hit adulthood? Just different things like that. So just sit back, enjoy, and just relax. Honestly, just have some fun with us. And if you have any questions or whatever the case may be, please just throw them in the comments and we will make sure we answer those for you, okay? All right. Hello, everyone.
What's
Hello.
up, everybody?
Everybody doing good?
Yes.
Great.
Good. I know I saw 2 out of the 3 of y'all on today earlier. For sure. Thanks for coming out, Tam.
Thank you.
All right. So we have some questions. We're going to do popcorn style on today because we couldn't come up with a for sure topic. But I have some questions about adulthood, right? So we're all sitting here at this at the round table. We're all 23 and above, hitting some 40s and all that good stuff. And so we got some questions we want to ask. So as a parent, there's 3 parents here and there is a child, grown man actually, but he is my child. As a parent, when is a child an adult? And as a parent, when do you feel your child is an adult? So when is a child an adult? Cam, answer that question for us. So you are my child. When are you an adult?
I feel like I was an adult when I graduated high school.
I got you. So what made you? What made that? What made you think that? Seriously.
I would say graduate high school and then like that first year of college.
Okay.
Just being away from like you, pretty much just trying to do my own thing, like doing adult stuff. But
Yeah.
besides the bills and whatnot,
I got you.
Now it's like really adult for me right now because bills and stuff. But definitely like when I graduated high school, that first year of college, just
Yeah.
getting away from home and like just experience it with not seeing you every day, not you not cooking every night. So it was different, but that's when I feel like I was,
Out there
adult,
growing and
yeah.
things. I feel you. I totally understand that. So as we're grown with children, but when did you feel like you were an adult in mom and dad's house? Or when we lived with mom and dad? You know what I'm saying? When we were younger. When did you feel like you were an adult, Tammy?
When I graduated,
Okay.
Yeah.
What made you feel that way?
because I could do what I want and could nobody tell me nothing. I thought.
For real?
Yeah.
So even, living in the house, it was a little bit different because daddy wasn't there when we graduated high school. But bring it back. If daddy was there and you graduated from high school and you were still living in the house, would you be considered an adult or a kid or a child?
A child.
Okay.
What
What
child?
about you, Bo? When did you feel like you were an adult?
I feel like I was an adult. I'll go along with like senior year,
Okay.
graduating first year of college.
For real?
Yeah.
Okay. So to me, when you're an adult, it's all about your mindset,
Mhm.
responsibilities, or is it something else? Which one is it? What makes you think? Do you think it's the mindset part of it, the responsibility part of it, or is it something totally different?
The mindset for sure,
Okay.
and the responsibility because it's like all tied in together.
Yeah, for sure. What about you, Kim?
I'd say mindset mostly. I mean,
Mhm.
obviously it is the responsibilities, but definitely the mindset. Because you can have a lot of responsibilities. Like, there's a lot of people that I know, not personally, but, they got a lot of kids or whatever the case may be, and they're
Mhm.
young, but that's a lot of responsibility. But just a mindset thing, I think.
For sure. So me, I would kind of say, did you say responsibility or mindset?
Mindset.
Okay, so to me, responsibility made me an adult, right?
Mhm.
Mindset too, but more so responsibility because I was a kid with a kid, right? So my mindset was still in a not an adult way, but my responsibilities made me an adult, if that makes sense. And then that kind of gradually came because after I had Kaylin, I was still like young and didn't really know too much of anything. I was 19, almost 20. And so then she made me, that responsibility made me an adult, whether, if I was ready for it or not. But then my mindset had to change after a certain period of time, because then it was no longer about me. It was about her. So I had to change the way I thought, because I couldn't be selfish. I couldn't do what I wanted to do. I had somebody to think about, right? So that was a responsibility for me, because I had to take care of my kid, my baby. But the mindset came a little bit later, because I tell my children all the time, we grew up together, because I was still very much so like immature, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Makes sense. Do y'all think that society sets a realistic age for adulthood? Do you? What does society say that adult is?
21.
No, society,
18?
yeah, some places 17, 18. Yeah, I think like Louisiana, legal age 17.
17.
Yeah.
Some places with my job, we have to know like rules and regulations or whatever. Some places, adult, where you can make decisions, it's like 16. But seriously, at the age of 16, do you feel like you were mature enough to be an adult and make adult decisions?
No.
I don't think so.
I think I can make all of the worst
Decisions at
at
16 for
yeah,
sure.
all of the
So you
worst.
have all these 16, 17-year-old children, young adults out here making grown people decisions, and they're doing a poor job at it. Some are doing a really good job, because, some people have to grow up really fast, but some people out here just making decisions, and they're not making good decisions. So society, honestly, that's unrealistic expectations on somebody that young, I feel, because what kind of trouble can you get into at 16 and 17 years of age?
The worst kind.
Yeah, you can go to prison and be tried as an adult and
Can.
life sentences. Like I know people who went to jail at like 14, tried as an adult, um, stayed in jail almost 20 years,
Yeah.
almost 20 years, and got out, and as an adult, but the mindset of a kid when they were in there.
Yeah.
So when they got out, it was completely survival mode. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So
So we can do the worst damage in survival mode and different things like that. So Tammy and Bo, soon to be, even though you're children, like your baby she has a birthday today. Your
Right.
oldest, how old is she?
24.
So she's 24. Yeah, Lee.
I
So
know.
she's 24. Do you consider her as an adult, or do you consider her as a child?
I consider her as an adult.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Because she's very mature
Mm-hmm.
for her age. She decided a long time ago what she wanted to do out of life. She set the goals, set her goals, and she's following them directly to the T. So I think she is. She does have still some growing up to do, but I think she's an adult.
I got
She's doing
you.
a very good job at it.
So was it easy for you to let those reins go with Trinity?
I'm still trying to hold on.
well,
Baby, that's my baby, but
For sure.
she's loosen up a little bit, mama,
Yeah.
but, she's very mature. for her
Okay.
age.
Do you think that adulthood is like a moment or a gradual process?
gradual, definitely gradual.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to grow into it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, one size definitely doesn't fit all.
Yeah.
And it's just, I believe it's a gradual process that we're constantly learning as parents and adults, because there is no instruction manual for this thing called life. So
Right.
what we're doing the best we can in those moments. So definitely a gradual process.
I got you. Do you think that even with the gradual process, and we know as being human beings as parents to children or as children to parents, no one's perfect.
Mhm.
We all make mistakes. We all parent differently, because all of us right here, like other than you, we have different parenting styles, right? We parent totally different, but we were all raised in the same house, raised the same exact way, but we all have different parenting styles. So the thing about this is, to me, if your child was a certain age, and if you were that parent that couldn't let your child go and into adulthood, whose fault is that? Is that our fault, or is that their fault that they can't survive in the real world?
It's our fault.
Do you think parents are really setting their kids up for success or for failure?
It just depends on who the parent is, and like what kind of lifestyle you had, or you have, or if you really are trying to teach them something, or just letting them do what they want to do.
Okay.
I think.
I got that. What
Let me
about you,
comment.
Kim?
Oh,
Oh, I'm sorry.
sorry.
Go ahead,
my bad.
Bo. Go ahead, Bo. I'm sorry.
I
Ron.
was going to say I think it's a combination of both because you can raise your child the best of your ability, but
Mhm.
then your child has to take self accountability
Right. So
and
true.
then raise the bar to what you're showing them.
Mhm.
Like you said, we all three of us we parent different and we were raised in the same household the same way. The things that we instill into our children that helps them to become successful human beings
Mhm.
with their effort. Without the effort, you can only you can pull a horse to water, but you can't make them drink.
Right.
So
Right.
with that, yes,
So
definitely.
I totally agree with you. 110%. What about you, Cam Bam?
Um, I'm have to agree with both. I think it's both goes both ways
Mhm.
because obviously me, Chris, and Caitlin were all raised in the same household, but I think we think very differently.
And you do.
Yeah, I think what really helped me is like the accountability part. That's really one of the reasons that I moved all the way to Kansas.
Yeah.
So like I put myself in that situation. So like if I did have a problem, you would not be there to like save the day. You know if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like I
What
didn't.
you trying to say?
No. I'm
No,
just
I'm
saying
just
like
playing. I'm just joking.
I thought about that. Like if I'm this far away, then like I'm gonna have to figure something out on my own unless
Yeah.
like it's a big deal and then like you have to help. But that's another reason why I kind of moved far away to do that.
I totally understand that. I think that sometimes as young adults, and let me say this too, as grown, seasoned folks, we are so ready for somebody to just give us an answer instead of doing the work to find it or to get it. We're so ready to take the easy route opposed to, you know, figuring out what we need to do, remembering what we did, because if it happens again, I know exactly what I've done in that last moment. I may have to tweak it up a little bit, but I remember what I did and I remember the outcome of that. I think that we've gotten to a place of like, well, I'm tired today. I don't know. You figure it out. And I think this is what's really stunting our children as far and stunting us as adults, because I see it all the time. Somebody wants to bring an issue to you. They don't want to think about it or find a solution. They just want somebody else to give them the answer. And that's never a good combination, because that right there lets me know, number one, you're lazy. And number two, you don't want to think. You just want somebody to give you something. And that is not how we're supposed to do it. So this is why we go through trials and tribulations. This is why we learn lessons, because if you learn those lessons, you won't forget those lessons. But if somebody's constantly giving you something, all you're going to do is have your hand out. That's
Right.
in life. That's in work. That's in any and all things. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So I just feel like we still, even as adults, like grown folks with grown kids, we still have a lot to learn if
Right.
that's our attitude about life and about being an adult,
Right.
because that's not what it's supposed to be.
Right.
Not at all. So as a parent, do you feel that there are specific moments when you realize your child was an adult, but we still treat them like kids?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah? What you got? You have an example?
Um, well, yes. I don't really know. It's so many because like Trinity, Taylor, and Talia, they sometimes I'll be like, dang,
Yeah.
but they're very like sometimes I will let them see how far they can get with doing a task on their own.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I'm always gonna be there to help them, but
Mhm.
I want to see how far they can get, what they can do on their own.
Right.
And then if I feel like they're doing something like in a different type of way, I'll like suggest something to them, but I won't like all the way try to fix it for
Right.
them,
Mhm.
to see how far they can get on their own. And then, you know,
I
what I
got you.
mean?
I
So,
understand
like
that. So, do you
so-
feel like this is like those are teachable moments when you're trying to teach them how to be an adult and kind of rely on their own
Yes.
senses, or is it like, you know what, I'm gonna show you this, I'm gonna tell you this one time, and then I'm gonna let you go? or do whatever you need to do. So what do you think it is? Do you think it's like you're just really trying to make them be an adult?
I'm not just trying to make them be
Mm-hmm.
an adult. I'm always gonna be there. I don't care how old they are,
Mm-hmm.
but I do want them to figure out things on their own. I can do things one way,
Mm-hmm.
but when it comes to my children, they're all three of my girls are different.
Right.
They do things differently. So I just want to see how far they can get on their own, but they know that I'm always there to help them with whatever they need. You know?
For sure. But what's your take?
I think I do believe that we try to teach our children. Even I say children because I have a son, I have
Mhm.
Ryder. But when I say children, I mean
Nieces,
there's a lot
nephews,
of nieces, there's
yeah,
a lot
for
of
sure.
nephews. So with that, like you try to teach them how to do certain things, and like she said, see how far they can get
Mhm.
because a lot of times struggle builds character.
Mm-hmm.
And in that moment when you're between struggle and building, you begin to figure it out yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And at the times that you don't figure it out and you just give up, then you begin to repeat the cycle.
Right.
And I remember something a long time ago that I'll never forget in its textbook definition of insanity.
Mm-hmm.
Doing something the same way and expecting a different result is insanity.
For sure.
So, and we do it. We did it as individuals. We did it so much until you sit down and be like, hold up,
Yeah.
let me figure this out. Let me take my time because a lot of times we're rushing it
Yeah.
and we're trying to get to the answer to the solution so fast and we missing the journey.
Yeah.
The journey is what's building the character and helping us not to repeat the same cycle again. Rushing through it, you don't remember what you've gone through. You just know that you went through it.
Right.
So you can't help anyone else to go through it because what did you learn?
That's true. I totally agree. Ken, what about you? Wait, what say you, sir, on this topic?
I mean, I don't have any kids.
Well, I know you don't, but as a child to a parent, that you have a different insight. So, you want to share that, or you want us to skip you? I'm good with skipping.
Yeah, you can skip for sure. For sure.
So you said skip?
Yeah.
Okay. So so with that, y'all, I do have a question. So as parents over here, and then as a child to a parent, to an adult, where does, like, we were raised churchy, right? Where does church come in? I know we were raised that way.
Mhm.
We are Kojic. That's what we do. That's what we're raised in. So, if you take the Kojic out of it, we were raised in church. We went to church. We did all the things.
Mhm.
How important is church for you? I mean, for your children, for you. So, say for instance, your kid comes in and says, "Hey, mama. Hey, daddy. You know what? Forget this. I'm not doing this. I want to do this." What would you say, and how would you react? Would it be like, "What? Wait a minute," or would it be like, "Hey, that's on you, and you do whatever you need to do"? How would you react to that?
Me?
Yeah, I already see
personally,
your
Yeah.
face. Yeah,
Yeah.
you.
Well, I make it very clear to my children
Mm-hmm.
that God is first.
Right.
And without him, you can try to do things on your own, but
Mhm.
without God, you're not going to get too far.
But then they say, "We don't want to hear that, ma'am. We're
Mhm.
gonna do this over here." So their religion, what you brought them up as, because what we were, then you instill that into your child, and then your child says, "Hey, listen, I don't want this. I want to be Muslim." How would you react to that?
Mhm.
I'm going to say that I'm going to pray for you.
Would
and
you
I hope
tell
that
them
God, I really would.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to pray for you, and I hope that God helps you find your way
Okay.
to where you're trying to go.
Okay.
Mhm.
Because I know what I believe, and I
Mhm.
know what I want my children to believe, but like you said, everybody has their own mind.
Right, and they're adults now, so you can't force them into church, but they can do whatever they need to do.
Right.
Right.
But I definitely will.
You're not
try-
backtracking on it.
No, I'm
Oh,
not
okay.
backtracking. I'm just saying I'm going to definitely influence them.
Right.
To do the
You're gonna
right
try
thing.
to.
Right.
Okay, I totally understand that.
Yeah.
But what about you? What if Ryder comes to you and says, "Daddy, listen, I hear you, but no."
See, I'm gonna have a different take on it because growing up,
Mm-hmm.
Kojic,
Mm-hmm.
Church of God in Christ, where holiness and Jesus at the cross is the center of the foundation.
Right.
See, for me, Church of God in Christ just means God, Jesus died for our sins and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But I would always like to put myself as non-denominational.
Right.
For the simple fact is that I believe that denomination is a form of separation,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a religion. So I believe relationship over religion. So my relationship with God, me talking to God one-on-one, God helping me through these right here,
Mm-hmm.
through these different situations, I want to teach my son relationship with God versus religion,
Mm-hmm.
because religion brings on tradition.
Mm-hmm.
And with tradition, you have this, this, and this. If you don't do this, you're going to go to hell. If you don't do that, you're going to do this. The first thing that I learned about God is that God is love,
Mm-hmm.
that God doesn't make you do anything. He gives you free will,
Mm-hmm.
that God, he's there for you. At the very same time, he gives you the choice
Mm-hmm.
what to do. If you want to do this, if you want to do that, he never forces nothing on you. So when people say, "Oh, so you serve a God that's gonna send you to hell and blah blah this and whatever," my answer is, God doesn't send you to hell.
You send yourself.
You send yourself.
Right.
God doesn't even tempt.
Right.
That's the devil's job.
Right.
The devil is the tempter. God is not in any confusion. Anything I find myself confused in, or there's a negative connotation that goes on to it, a lot of the times I know that that's not even God.
Mhm.
That's the opposite, because God is love, God is life, God is all those things that are positive.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes we have to work ourselves through these things by depending on God to build that character, to have that relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So if my son comes to me and he's talking to me about religion, I'm going to tell him about relationship.
Okay.
We're going to talk about relationship and not religion. We're going to talk about being one with God, and talking about anything, any problem that I can't help you with, that God is always there, that you can talk to him personally.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't want to talk to me, you can ask him a question personally and he'll answer you when I can't answer you. So I'm going to base all my beliefs with my son with religion.
Mm-hmm.
Not religion, I'm sorry, with relationship
Right.
over the religion.
So what if Ryder says, "I hear you.
Mhm.
I don't believe in God."
Do you believe in relationship?
I understand what you're
No,
saying, but I'm just saying,
I'm
how would
saying-
you react if Ryder says that to you?
I'm answering the
Right.
question
Do
as
you
if
believe
you
in
were Ryder.
relationship?
Yes. Do
So-
you believe in relationships? Son?
Right. I do.
So you believe in relationships, son.
Mhm.
So if you believe in relationship, you know that if you're in a relationship, there's nothing that you can do on your own.
Right.
Correct. So if you don't believe in God, what do you believe in? Do you think you do all this by yourself? Do you think everything happened by coincidence? We would go down the pros. I want to see what his mindset would be when I pose these questions. If
Mhm.
you're telling me you don't believe in God, son, what do you believe in?
Right. There's a lot of people that don't, honestly, and how they got to that realization, I don't know, but they're in it and they're 10 toes deep in it. But it's just a question. What about you, Kim? I know, me personally, we were raised in church.
Mhm.
I took y'all to church, and then to a point to where y'all, I'm not saying you hated to go to church, but we were at church, and when you got older, you pretty much did whatever you wanted to. But yet and still, I expected you guys to be at church on Sunday to kind of learn something, to do whatever. But then I'll let you do your own thing.
Mhm.
So what do you think? We could have done that a little bit better, or what? What do you think?
No, I think it was good. Obviously, kids always think that you could do something more fun than church,
Yeah.
But as you get older, like, just going to church and then like realizing like the blessings that you get,
Mm-hmm.
then you understand like it's nothing to give an hour of your time on Sunday to God or whatever the case may be.
This is
But also, like, I understand like what Bo is talking about too, because like the relationship standpoint of it.
yeah.
Because I've always thought about that, like, just because people don't go to church doesn't make them unholy,
No.
and then there's people that go to church that are like some of the most unholy people ever, you know what I'm saying? So
Amen.
that's what I understand what he's saying. So like,
Right.
because I used to, sometimes I do feel guilty when I miss church,
Yeah.
but then I understand like, my heart. He knows where my heart is,
Yeah,
and
for
like
sure.
he understands how I think or how I feel about situations. So
Yeah. I think
pretty
church to
much.
me, honestly, is a connect because, say, for instance, during the week, you do all the things and then you long for, I'm not saying long for, but then at the end of the week, you need to be reconnected to that light source. You need an energy touch. You know what I'm saying? You need a connection. You need to refill your tank because, baby, this world will run you ragged if you allow it to.
Right.
So sometimes for me, church is definitely what that is. I'm not saying go to church every Sunday. I'm not saying go to church every time the church door is open, but I am saying for me, that is a recharge for me. That for me, because if I can hear the word and I can be present there, honestly, I'm okay. I'm good to go. I'm recharged and things like that. So, yeah, it doesn't mean that if you miss church that you're not saved, because you're right. Some of the biggest devils sit in that church pew every Sunday or every other Sunday, and they are the biggest devils I've ever seen in my life. Some people just, honestly, there's some people that are so active in the church that lead things in the church, are part of a church, and they're the biggest gossips I've ever seen in my life. And that stuff that you just really don't do. You know what I mean? So it's a connect for me. It really is. So I also have a question. Say, for instance, we have these children that are adults and we are adults and we're moving on. So if you have a child or you know someone that is really, really together when it comes to finances and all of the things, but they are emotionally immature, how are you looking at them? Are they still adults? Or are they like, are you trying to help them? Or you feel like they're handicapped? I mean, what do you think? Because emotionally, they're just really not an adult. But financially, they can save a coin. You know what I mean? But like for real, not
Yeah.
there. What are you thinking?
I think that they could still be adults, but emotionally they have to grow up because we have older people
Mm-hmm.
that are old,
Yeah.
that are emotionally immature still.
Yeah.
They don't think with a logical mind. They make their decisions based off of emotions,
Mm-hmm.
and they could be 100 years old. Not saying that they are 100, but they could be 100 years old and be so emotionally immature to where that everything that they do is
Right.
based off their emotion or how they feel.
That's true. I totally agree
So
with that.
I agree that they could be an adult and just need to grow up emotionally.
But I got you. What about you, Ken? What do you think?
That's why I said it's kind of a mindset thing over responsibilities. Because you can have responsibilities of an adult, but like, do you act like an adult?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think like an adult? So
Yeah. How does the transition even happen from a child to an adult? And is it easy? I don't even know when the transition happens.
Well, I would say I don't remember if it was you or Bo, but responsibilities they do like I feel like they turn you into an adult depending on how you handle them.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if you have responsibilities or you're going through something, and then like it changes your perspective, and then it like allows you to have that mindset of being an adult and
Yeah.
take the world for what it is and how you do things.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Do you think we should ever stop financially supporting our children, even though they're adults?
No. I'm not saying that just because I'm your kid, but I'm serious because like people go through stuff all the time,
True.
and whether it be finances or not, you still need your parents at the end of the day, or for sure like you still need somebody at the end of the day.
Yeah, for sure.
I say
You're
be
right about that.
available. I say always be available regardless. However, if you can, be available.
That makes sense. What say you, Tam Tam?
I agree. I totally agree. I can honestly say, I don't mind helping my children at all, but all of them have jobs, and they might blow their money sometimes,
Mm.
but they know what kind of responsibility they have. Like growing up, I paid everybody's phone bill,
Mhm.
right? But then when they turn 18 and had a job, I would make them pay $25 each on their phone bill, just knowing that was a bill that they had to pay every month.
Mhm.
Some people was like, girl, you making your kids pay the phone bill? I am.
I think I was one of those people, and I
know.
hate that I even said that because now, baby, okay, go ahead, continue.
Girl. But anyway, I was just trying to teach them
Mhm.
some responsibility,
Right.
like to be out here for real.
Mhm.
Like if I like lost my job and I didn't have money to pay your phone bill or whatever the case may be, there was something that I could not do. I wanted you to be able to pick up what you could do. You know what I'm saying? Not that I just needed you to do that, but just to teach you that nothing in this world is free and you can't just live off of people.
Mhm.
Everywhere you go, you're going to have to learn to do something on your own. You know, I'll always have my kids back no matter what. I don't care how old they are. But I still want to teach them responsibility, teach them how to do things and not live off of other people, but to be able to do things on their own, to stand up on their own, to be able to pay things on their own.
Gotcha.
And it makes them, after they do it, they're like, oh, Mama, I did this. I'm so proud of myself. And I'm like, baby, I'm proud of you too.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? You've learned something.
Yeah.
That's one step up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
For being an adult.
For sure. I totally agree with that. I failed at that part for sure as a parent.
I don't
No
think you
joke. And that's what I really did, because I know that I did, because I I would always take the responsibility away from my children, and I would always do the things that you made your children do. I would do the very opposite, because I felt as if I needed to, because me as a parent was like, oh, woe is me, woe is my children, they had a bad upbringing, they didn't have this, they didn't have that, whatever. And then I would try to fix that situation by taking on more responsibility for myself, knowing good and well that they could take on a $25 responsibility bill. You know what I'm saying? And so I definitely failed at that, and I realized that as I gotten older, that I definitely failed at that. And so I can definitely admit that for sure. I've said that a couple times.
Me personally,
Uh-huh.
I don't think you failed. I think, like you said earlier, we all parent different.
Mm.
So, like, where you think like maybe you failed your kids, but you just wanted to show them more love,
Mhm.
or you feel like maybe they needed more of this or more of that.
Right.
And my kids too, they needed more of this and more of that. But as they got older, they started to see things with their own eyes.
Yeah.
It was nothing that I had to tell them.
Right.
You know
For
what I'm saying?
sure.
I never talk bad about anybody dealing with them like their dad or anything. I never talk bad about them in front of him.
Right.
I mean, in front of them.
Right.
I wanted them to figure out whatever they figured out on their own.
Right.
So I think that was like just parenting different. Not that you failed at it at all.
Right.
It's just that we're all different.
Yeah.
parents.
We are
Different
definitely,
ones.
we definitely,
Different
for
ones.
sure. One more question. When you feel as if your child is not ready for adulthood, right? But they feel that they are, how do you let them go?
With
Me.
the prayer.
Definitely with the prayer. But me, what I do is I will let you go.
Mhm.
I mean, not let you go completely, but I will let you do what you think you need to do
Mhm.
to be that person you're trying to be. And right before you getting ready to fall off the edge,
Mhm.
I'm right here
To pick you
to
up.
pick you up.
Is that a
and
good
say,
thing though? So, because sometimes you have to
That's a
let
good
them
question.
fall in order for them to learn. And as parents, we don't want our children to hurt. But when is it necessary to let them fall? Cam, can you answer that?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say as many times as they can. Let them fall as many times as they can. I feel like, well, I guess I only speak for myself, but failure it teaches me a lot of things, and
Yeah.
maybe failure doesn't teach somebody or people certain things, but I feel like if I fail, then it definitely teaches me things that, like, okay, this is what needs to happen, this is what happened, this is how I can fix it and whatnot. So in my opinion, yeah, I think as many times as they need to fall to get to where they need to go or
Okay.
get that
Mhm.
understanding.
Makes sense. What about you, Tim?
I agree with Cameron. I do believe in if they getting ready to fall, I'm gonna catch them, but I'm gonna definitely let them bump their heads a couple of times.
Yeah.
I'm gonna definitely let them see what they can think they can do, and I'm not gonna be like, "Oh, girl, I told you." I ain't gonna be like that. I'm gonna be like,
Yeah.
Well, we learned a lesson today, didn't
Yeah.
we? Next time, take Jesus along with you.
Amen.
Okay?
Everywhere you go.
And that's
Right.
what I was gonna say. I was gonna say like you said, sometimes we let them fall, and right before you, like you said, right before they go to fall, catch them. To me, I mean, I completely agree with that. But if we don't catch them every time they fall, then they begin to form this relationship that we were talking about
Mhm.
with God because it's been instilled with them. So they
Right.
don't know where else to turn to,
True.
but what we've put in them. And that's the beginning of a relationship. When they don't know what to do, and if mama don't do nothing, if daddy don't do nothing, I know I'm doing wrong, but I know they love me,
Mhm.
but God loved me too. And that's how we begin to form a relationship with God, I think.
I got you. It
Yeah, I
makes
agree.
perfect sense. And honestly, it kind of pivots a little bit to what I originally wanted to talk about, just because you said that just a little bit. Um, when you are growing up, right?
Mhm.
And we were raised in church, right? When you're growing up and then you become an adult and then you are out here in this world, this cruel world, doing all the things that you need to do, some of the things you shouldn't be doing, all the things. Where does your faith come in
Mm.
versus reality? Because sometimes what we look at and what we believe are two totally different things, because the world shows us this, but us, we know that God can do that. So how does that help us? Where does that where did you pick up at? What did it take you? Give me examples of your faith versus reality, honestly. Some things that God, did nobody do but God, but these are the things that we were raised on, and that we have relationships with Him.
Right.
Give me one, like an example of that,
I
and
got
tell me. Yeah,
good
go
one.
ahead.
So, like you said, we were raised in church.
Mm-hmm.
We grew up, we did the things we wanted to do, you
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying, whatever. This one night,
Mm-hmm.
I had got drunk,
Mm-hmm.
like drunk, messed up drunk. I was on my way from DeKalb to Texarkana.
Mm-hmm.
I had a
So you were
drunk.
driving.
I had a candy red
Mm-hmm.
Caprice. When the
Okay.
sun hit it, it turned tangerine orange. It was
Got you.
bad. So I know I was drunk and I left decaf. I was like, you know how when you so drunk you gotta do that one
Yeah,
eye.
you got that one I sink.
I was drunk and I was driving, and I must have fell asleep.
Hmm.
I woke up in Hooks,
What?
and yes, from decaf to Hooks.
You don't remember nothing.
I woke up like this. I woke up. I was like this. I woke up and my hand was on the wheel. And I was on the right side of the road, and I did like this. Wasn't nobody in the
Boy,
car but me. God was
Jesus,
guiding my hand.
for
He guided my
real.
hand because I didn't drove, what's that, almost 30 miles, and I was asleep. God guided my hand
And
the
you on
whole time.
interstate?
I was on 30. I was on I-30. I got so many examples of that. Like, I know that I've did a lot of stuff I wasn't supposed to do, but I thought I was big enough and bad enough to do it.
Yeah.
But God then brought me out of so much. Like, for real, when I sit here and think about it, it reminds me of the relationship that I grew up and that I had with God. Because
Mm.
I done did a lot.
Yeah.
Like, I did a lot. Like,
That's so
God
crazy. I
brought
don't
me
think
through
I
a
ever
lot.
knew that.
The one example, like, I've been, like, y'all are my siblings, that's my nephew.
Right.
I've been in multiple shootouts, people getting hit side to side by me. A dude, I remember in Oklahoma City, it was a guy right beside me, he got hit in the neck.
Mm-mm.
He got hit in the neck, but I made it. I made it through all of that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
like I've been stabbed in the chest. I've been like I've it wasn't nobody but God
For sure.
that brought me through all of that. So when it comes to the reality of a relationship with God and what I see society says, I know I made a lot of wrong decisions.
Yeah.
But I know because of the blood,
Mm-hmm.
because the blood that God sent His Son and died for me, I know that regardless, whatever I've ever did, wherever I am, even right now, God can't love me no more than He already loved me.
Right.
Cause I'm a man that's carnal minded. You know what I'm saying? A man that's carnal minded that that's not worthy. But because of the blood of Jesus, I am able to even be here because, like I said, I've been through a lot of different situations, good and I like bad. A lot of stuff I won't even tell you.
Mm-hmm.
Only person probably knows me and my mama. You know what I'm saying? But I've been through a lot, and God brought me through all of that. So I know the reality of the relationship and the power that the name of Jesus holds.
Baby.
Even though, you know what I'm saying?
You had a praying mama.
Yeah, for sure.
That
For
part.
sure that.
What about you, Tam?
Yeah, I have to agree with my brother. A lot of things mm, like this is my heart situation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
God brought me out of that. I was in a beauty shop, get my hair done, whatever. And my brother was in there, and I just stood up. Something happened. I couldn't breathe anymore. He took me over his shoulder, put me in a car. We made it to Wadley Hospital, and that's when they found that on my heart. You know what I'm saying? I could have been gone.
Yeah.
Like, I'm 45 years old today. You know what I'm saying? And what they took off my heart, like that 6-pound thing that they took off my heart, I should have been gone. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? But God has been there for each and every last one of those.
For sure.
And if it was not for the Lord, I would not be here. And my kids were little. You know, they were not little, but they were old enough to know what was going on. You know what I'm saying? And I was so scared, but God, He protected me. I'm still here today.
Yeah.
I've had 3 or 4 different surgeries and been told I had cancer and all different things. But God, you know what I'm saying? God still got something for me to do. That's why I'm still here today.
For
you know
sure.
what I'm saying? So,
For sure.
but God, that's all I can say.
Faith versus what they say he can and cannot do versus what he definitely can do.
Right.
For sure. Ken, what about you? We probably can't top this.
No, but
I know I
I'd say
can.
one thing that comes to mind for sure is like high school senior year.
Yeah.
I always knew I wanted to play college basketball, and then the way senior year was with football and all that stuff, it was super weird. But I didn't have nowhere to play for basketball because I didn't talk to any coach or anything. And then I signed to play football, and then one day I'll never forget this. I was working. I used to work at Shalosky's, I remember. And then I was like, I finally worked up enough courage to call the coach and be like, Coach, I can't come play football because I still want to play basketball. Even not having any, not knowing who or what to talk to about basketball, nothing. And I was giving away school paid for.
Maybe, it took me a couple breaths, yes.
Yeah, I was
just a couple of them out.
Just giving away a complete, free to play football just to chase the dream of playing basketball. So I did that, and it was like a weight was just lifted off my shoulders. And then I want to say, a month later, I get a email from a coach, the Richland coach, Coach Graham, and I was just like crazy. And then we signed not too long after that, and then the rest is pretty much history.
For sure.
And I'm kind of going through the same thing right now because, came back here just working out, waiting, having that faith. I know it's going to work out, but, sometimes it get a little tough because you just feel like you're not moving, but, you just keep stacking days and eventually it'll happen.
For sure. So question though, because we are human beings and sometimes we know what God has definitely done for us. This didn't turn into a whole situation. We know what God has done for us. We know what God has promised us. We know what God has brought us out of, right? With that being said, as human beings, when we're not supposed to doubt God, do we?
Sometimes we do.
Sometimes.
Is that a sin?
Doubting, I definitely think doubting God is a sin. I think it is.
Yeah.
Simply because it takes you out of this. It takes you out of the situation that you pray for, because you can't pray and worry at the same time.
Right.
They cancel each other out.
They do.
So
He didn't create us to worry.
Yeah.
He didn't create us to fear.
Right.
And I just want to say one thing. When Cameron, I remember him playing football.
Yeah.
He had never played football before.
No,
never.
not at all.
That boy was cold.
but he was good. He was so good.
So
But
good.
yeah,
It
for
was
sure.
like he had been playing football for years.
Yeah.
And he did. He had just started playing. That boy was so cold. I was like, baby, he was cold.
Yeah,
You
that's
hear me?
cool.
But in everything that he does,
Yeah.
because he puts God first, he's going to be great.
For sure.
He's going to be great.
For sure.
And I love him.
I
That's
know,
my baby.
we know you do.
That's my
I think
baby.
that I know that sometimes as human beings and as people going through situations, we let flesh kind of control our thoughts or whatever the case may be. But I always tell my son, and I tell my niece this same thing too, because my grandfather taught this to me. Whenever you go through something in life, then actually I'm going to say that for our positive right
Okay,
there.
okay.
So I remember this one particular time for me. I was living in Oklahoma City, right? I will never forget that. That's a whole nother story for for a different day, baby. That was some
Right.
hood living at that then. I was living in Oklahoma City, and I had limited amount of money. I had 2 children, and it came down to paying my tithes, right? And then I had a bill that was due. Now, what my tithes were and what my bill was the same amount of money. And what I had in the bank was just that amount of money for one or the other. And so I'm a tither, and I'm like, Lord, I'm trusting you to do whatever it is that you gonna do for me. Because I remember my grandfather always telling me, tell God what you want, tell him what you want, and tell him exactly when you need it.
Yeah.
To the very second, you know what I'm saying? And so I stood on that, and I was like, Lord, this is what I need. I said, because I'm giving my tithes, and I need you to bless me with this pay today, because it was a light bill that was my light's about to get turned off. And I needed that money to pay it, but I refused to pay that light bill because I'm like, Lord, I'm trusting and believing in you. And I know that this is my tithe right here, but this is also a seed, because I trust you. I know that you're going to do just what you said that you were going to do. So I'm trusting in you. I go to the ATM. I pull out the amount of money that I needed for my tithes. Again, it's the same amount of money for my bill. And I only got that $100 in my account. That's it. That's all I got. That is all that I have. I pull out $100 to take it to church to give to my tithes. You know how you look at your receipt?
Yeah.
I just balled my receipt up and just threw it over to the side because I already knew I only had $100 in there, right? Some said, look at my receipt. I looked at my receipt. I took $100 out. I had $100 in. There was money to pay my light bill. There was money to give my tithe. And I was like, Lord, I thank you, because honestly, that's something small to somebody. But when you trust God and you believe in God and you know what God promises are yes and amen, I'm gonna pay my tithe. I'm gonna do those things. But that's just like a small thing that God has definitely done for me. There's so many things that He has brought me out of. There's so many things that He has done for us. But back to the topic, we were talking about adults and our children or whatever, and how this right here plays a major part. Regardless of what they believe today, regardless of if it's Kojic, non-denomination, whatever the case may be, because my kids, they'll go to church with me. Kaylin goes to another church, but they know God and they know what God can and cannot do, because He's done something for every last one of us. And so we stand 10 toes deep in trusting and believing in God. So that is one thing I know that as parents that we instill in our children. We do. I don't know about anybody else, but we do. And so that's a major thing for me. I know that we are about at the end of the podcast. And I just want to, either we can talk about the adulthood up until, from kids to adult and how we feel about different things like that, or we can talk about something that God has definitely done. Whichever one. I want someone to leave, or you guys leave with a positive. Let somebody know, what you're feeling. Give something off get something off your heart. Just say something that's positive that we can leave somebody with, that may be struggling with some issues, maybe struggling with a bad kid. I'm not gonna say bad kid. Maybe struggling with a young man or a woman that we want out of our house. Then they ain't going nowhere. What should we do? Or maybe we have somebody out here that's struggling with faith, or struggling with what we got going on as far as like church. And, I've been church hurt and different things. That's a whole nother topic for another day too. But just give a positive on one or the other, or actually just both, and kind of go from there. And we can start with you, Tam.
Okay. My thing is, always put God first. Be true to yourself. Be true to God. It don't matter who you are. He has no respect to person. You can come to Him and talk to Him just like I talk to my brother, just like I'm talking to you. He will always be there for you. And no matter if you're at your lowest or however you feeling, if you pray to God and be real with yourself and God, He will answer your prayers every time.
Gotcha. Even if His answer is a no, He's still gonna do it.
Even if it's no.
There you show right. What about you, Bo? I mean, Ron.
I would like to just leave with that. I know sometimes we struggle with if we're good enough to come to church. If we're good enough, can we stop doing this? Can we stop doing this before we go to church? I need to do this or do that before I feel worthy to go in church. The Bible never tells us to get yourself straight before you come to church. It don't even tell us to stop drinking before you come to church. It don't tell you to stop smoking before you come to church. The Bible says to come as you are. And God changes you from the inside out. He changes your heart. And once that heart is changed, you won't have a mind to do those things. I say this to one, to all. I say to within, to myself as well, because sometimes we doubt and we struggle, but we always have to remember who God is and what he's done. He'll bring us back just to bring us up. So
For sure.
never forget.
That's so true. Do you remember what Papa used to tell us a lot of? He said it's that heart. It's not the heart that's pumping blood, but it's the heart of
The heart of your mind.
heart of your mind. Sure did. What about you, Cam?
I just want to just leave a positive for the people that's like struggling with faith and doubt. I guess just because I do sometimes struggle with that because like I never, from my standpoint, it's hard to try to navigate things because like what you want to do, but you don't know how to get there, or like you just feel like you're stuck. And I would just say what really helped me since I've been here, because I didn't want to come back because I knew I would feel this way, but it's just really stacking days and like trying to get the best out of yourself each and every day, because like I struggle, I do, but I just keep pushing, keep going, because I know I have an end goal that I want to get to. And if I was just to stop now, like what would I say like from a year from today? Like what would so that's what just keep going, pretty much, to sum it up.
I got you. Makes perfect sense. Me, honestly, I want to kind of talk about the adult thing as well as church and faith and all that. My thing is, as far as like an adult is concerned, as parents, sometimes it is very hard for us to let our children go, especially when we feel like they're not ready. But you can't hold your child down. You cannot stunt their growth. And even if we know that we're right and they are wrong, honestly, sometimes it's just we have to step back. And when I say step back, I mean for real, step back and let them do what they need to do. Always be there to help pick up the pieces if anything falls and breaks, or always be there to offer advice if they ask you to. I had a problem with offering my advice, but now I try to be asked for my advice and then kind of go from there. As far as like church is concerned, I want to say never lose your faith. Always, 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 always put your faith in God. And sometimes, even as human beings, we will definitely, sometimes we'll doubt different things that we want, and we think that God doesn't hear us. God hears you. He hears everything that you're saying. But I want to say this part, and like I was going to say earlier, what I tell my son and what I tell my nieces and what my grandfather taught me is if there's any type of anxiety going on, or if there's any type of, you're getting ready to take a big test, or you just feel like you're just lost, or whatever the case may be. I was going through nursing school a long time ago, and I was not doing well in my test, and I was getting so much anxiety to where I was just like, I'm just going to quit. My grandfather told me this one thing, and I want you guys to really remember this. Whatever it is, I want you guys to say, Lord, I thank you for allowing me to pass Lord, I thank you for allowing me to do. Lord, I thank you for just getting this out of my way. Lord, I thank you for whatever it is that you're going through. And I promise you, once you start telling God, I thank you for already allowing it, because life and death is in the tongue, and you got to speak it as though it is. So if you do that and you believe that, I promise you, you're going to see so many results that God's going to definitely bless you. If it's his will, he's going to do what you ask him to do. So if you're going through nursing school, you're going through life, you having heartaches and different things like that, Lord, I thank you for allowing me to go through nursing school. I thank you for allowing me to pass my test. Whatever the case may be, just use that. And I promise you, God's going to work for you, okay? Now, I'm not a preacher. And I ain't out here asking for no money, but I'm just telling you what I know from past experiences. Okay. Anybody else have anything they want to say?
I do.
Okay.
Happy birthday, Trinity. It's her birthday. She's 24.
Today is definitely our
So happy
niece's
birthday.
birthday. So we thank you all for being here on tonight. If you like our content, please give us a thumbs up. Please join our family. Honestly, we're definitely trying to grow our family. And just leave us a comment, okay? Thank you so very much, and until the next time. Peace,
Like and
everybody.
subscribe.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about
Peace.
that.